Much more on these goings-on with Silicon Valley Bank and the rest of it. Joining us now, Kevin O'Leary, chairman of O'Leary Ventures. They call him Mr. Wonderful. Kevin, I don't know why you're not bidding for this bank. Straighten them out. This thing is tailor-made for you. This is one of the great turnaround situations. The collateral is good. The management and the board, you'd toss overboard. You'd take the taxpayers off the hook, and you'd probably, in the process, even teach Mary Daly of the San Francisco Fed how to be a decent bank supervisor. So what are you waiting for?
So, you know, Larry, it may sound crazy, but I thought about that. But let me ask you something about a bank balance sheet, okay?
Yes.
The franchise value of a bank is, you know, that intrinsic value that it's built over the 40 years that this franchise has been around. Silicon Valley Bank had a brand, okay? That brand has an imputed value. I would argue today that in a matter of 48 hours, that brand, Silicon Valley Bank, is now radioactive waste. That management team took that brand and made it the poster boy for idiot management, and it can't be taken back. It's a tainted brand that's going to be known forever as the bank that changed policy on banking. Just because they couldn't manage their way out of a wet paper bag. Duration, liquidity, basic ideas of banking, and they completely blew their brains out. Now, why would anyone own that piece of...
You can change it. You can change it. You know, listen, there have been a lot of turnarounds. You know this. I mean, you're one of the most astute investors. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. You have the resources to do it, and you have the chutzpah. You have the strength to come in there. I mean, look, if anything, the Silicon Valley Bank will be known as the bank for Black Lives Matter, okay, which is really a Marxist organization, a racist organization, but you can change that. That's all gone. After all, if you look at the plumbing, they have terrific contacts throughout Silicon Valley. And it is, I know they're all left-wing Democrats. I get that. I'm sorry about that. Maybe you could change that too. But the politics doesn't matter near as much as the connections that bank has. And after all, a lot of these, you know, startups do great things for America. They do great things for American business and American consumer. You're Mr. Innovation as long as I've known you. That's why I want you to come in and buy the bank. If you don't buy it, I'm afraid some left-wing hedge fund's going to buy it. It's going to make it even worse. God knows who they'll invest with. I mean, this is the screwiest story I've ever seen. The more you learn about this bank, the worse it gets.
That's true. Now, listen, if I didn't have so much powder on, you'd see I'm blushing. I'm very appreciative that you would even think of me.
No, you're the guy.
But I will. But let me tell you what I did with my companies in that bank. I basically, some of them I was fortunate enough to get the cash out before Thursday night. We have now moved it into 4 other institutions, and I'm telling every one of my CEOs, no more than 20% in any institution. The beneficiaries of what happened there, because there's quite a bit of capital that flowed away, and it's not coming back, have gone to J.P. Morgan, to Citi, the classic money center banks. They're the beneficiary. But the bigger problem, Larry, and you got to help me with this, because I know you understand this. It's imputed in what happened. If it's true that we have essentially nationalized the banks by telling every depositor, you don't have to worry about your money, it's good. If that's what I'm to believe, then what stops any manager, any black swan idiot bank manager from saying, let me get this right. I get compensated with equity. I'm in the stock option business. I get to take my depositors' money and do anything I want with it. The craziest ideas that are within the rules of banking. I can go to Vegas and put it all on red, and doesn't matter what happens, I'm covered. No matter how stupid I am, I'm covered. Now, tell me what the outcome long-term is going to be.
It would be very bad. It would be very bad.
It's going to be very bad.
It would be, but I don't think, look, I know, I mean, everyone should be cynical about this story. We don't want to have a nationalized moral hazard where everybody can do any damn thing they want because they know the FDIC is going to bail them out. I don't think that's going to happen. I think, Kevin, what will happen, and this is kind of overlooked and underreported, the Fed Treasury lending facility, which is right out of Walter Bagehot, it's very sound policy to stop a contagion, lend freely at good collateral. The collateral here, all the banks that got into trouble, they own lots of government securities and well-heeled mortgage-backed securities at a discount penalty. And they're charging you 10 basis points above the overnight lending rate. That is probably the smartest thing they've done. This is what we did during COVID, by the way, the Treasury Department and the Fed. This is how we put them, for exchange stabilization fund, $25 billion of equity. The Fed can leverage off all they need. Kevin, that's going to save the banking system from a massive contagion and from an all-out FDIC guarantee. And the left-wingers running the FDIC, this guy Grunfeld, whatever his name is, Grunberg, and the other one, Chopin, they will be taken out of play by sounder policy from the Federal Reserve. At least that's my hope.
Okay,
so that's
Larry,
my answer.
Let's take
that's
your
policy,
scenario.
not
Let's
politics.
take your answer.
It's policy.
Let's go back to Friday afternoon last week with your idea right there. What could have happened and what should have happened is the Fed should have bid the book, taken the long bonds and basically given them liquidity to this bank. Had they done that, to my calculation, they would have recouped 95 cents on the dollar. Okay? Then they go to everybody that has more than 250,000 in there, including me with some of my portfolio companies, saying, sorry, we're idiots, but we can pay you back everything except the last 5 cents. So the 250,000, it's covered by the FDIC, got it. And the rest, you're taking a 5% hit because we're idiots. Instead of having this massive contagion discussion, because frankly, everybody that has more than 250,000 is a sophisticated investor or a high net worth or a hedge fund or actually a business account. And they should have managed their own risks by getting diversification in the accounts they held in various financial institutions. But that's not what we did. We basically said, no, 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 no. Let's guarantee everything. Let the taxpayer be on the hook for every single account, even if it's a Chinese account or a foreign account. Don't worry about it. We'll cover you no matter how stupid you are as a bank manager.
I understand.
We have your back.
But
I'm not okay with that, Larry.
I'm not
okay with that.
I don't. And by the way, I don't think it was necessary because the Fed could have opened up the discount window. And the collateral was good. The management was stupid. I get all that. The only possible risk there, not a risk, the only possible barrier was the insolvency barrier. The Fed cannot loan if the institution is insolvent. But I basically agree with you. But what I'm saying is I wouldn't have risked it spreading around the country. And I think the Fed and the Treasury, I'm not 100% sure because no one can be 100% sure. I hope I am right, but I think that this lending facility from the Treasury and the Fed will stop the tide. A friend of mine called it a fire breaker.
Let me reverse roles for a minute. I want to ask you a question.
Real quick. I love you, but real quick. Go ahead, Kevin.
Why do we have to guarantee every bank?
I don't want to.
It's okay if one of them goes under.
Well,
it's okay.
It's not fabulous. It's not fabulous. You do risk, on that, you risk a massive contagion. I mean, the country may not be ready for it. It's not
Larry, Credit Suisse just does wealth management. So what if they go to zero? Why? Do I have to take care of everybody that put all their money in a bad institution? Why do I have to do that as a taxpayer? Why?
Another time. We'll talk about moral hazard and the benefits or lack thereof of deposit insurance. It's an interesting
Larry, don't be a
conversation.
chicken. Let somebody go to zero. It's okay. It's healthy for them.
As long as it's not my account. Kevin O'Leary, I want you to think twice. You could own Silicon Valley Bank. Kevin, you could probably own it by the close of business tomorrow night. And you, and only you, can turn that thing around. Anyway, folks,
they would love me.
Kevin O'Leary.
They would love me.
I don't want them to love you. I want tough love is what I want.